Thanks for joining us for this week's Northwest Newsweek. I'm Riley McManus. The group calling itself the Freedom Convoy made its way through the Northwest and on their way to Ottawa this week. Hundreds of transports and other vehicles are taking part in the Cross Canada Rally against vaccine mandates for cross-border truckers. The group made an overnight pit stop on the outskirts of Thunder Bay, and despite some traffic tie-ups and refusing to speak to reporters, police say the protesters were mainly peaceful. Kurt Black has the details.
After being welcomed by hundreds of supporters in places like Kekabeka Falls and other parts of the region, the majority of the Freedom Convoy, made up of hundreds of transport trucks and personal vehicles, spent the night at the local dirt track speedway. The caravan departed Thunder Bay early in the morning with OPP stationed along their departure route to ensure traffic continued to flow safely. OPP Sergeant Mike Golding notes it was a tall order when dealing with such a large line of vehicles, but he was pleased with how everything went.
Our intention was to, keep the local traffic moving as quickly and regularly as possible. So we did utilize the traffic lights. We think that was just a fair way to deal with it, and also allow the group to catch up with itself, so they don't get stretched, to a point where there's a very large distance and gap between them. But it appears to me that it was quite orderly, and we're very happy with the way it turned out.
Aside from a small number of agitators that were aggressive towards news reporters on scene Wednesday night, referring to them as communists, the majority of the convoy have traveled peacefully on the stretch between Kenora and Thunder Bay. Golding says they've been cooperative with police.
We had some ongoing communication with the event organizers to ensure that our mandate of public and traffic safety was met, and that the convoy participants were being orderly and peaceful, which they were. And it was well done. And it's my understanding that it's been a positive relationship, and we've had no negative incidents through their time basically between Kenora and Thunder Bay. So we're happy about that.
Thunder Bay police were also monitoring the convoy's activities in the city and in Oliver Papoonge. Acting Traffic Sergeant Sal Carchidi wanted to thank local commuters for their cooperation during the convoy's short time in the area.
So we just wanted to thank the motoring public and the commuters in Thunder Bay and Oliver Papoonge for being able to adapt to the changing situation, the increased traffic on our roadways, as well as allowing extra time to get from point A to point B. Even with a last-minute schedule change by the organizers today, we were able to respond to that and have the trucks moving safely through the city.
After leaving Thunder Bay, the convoy split into two at Nipawin, with smaller vehicles continuing on Highway 17 towards Sault Ste. Marie, and the transports headed north on Highway 11 towards Cochrane. Kurt Black, TBT News.
A former Kenora OPP officer has pled guilty to sexually abusing 2 children under the age of 12 while staying at a resort on a Bois Forte Indian reservation in Minnesota back in 2018. 32-year-old Brady John Hillis entered the guilty plea last week to Minneapolis court. The victims, who identify as Indigenous, were also guests at the resort at that time. Hillis was on paid suspension from the OPP prior to his guilty plea, but resigned last week. A sentencing hearing will be held at a later date. Martin Falls First Nation has declared an education state of emergency. Nearly all of the elementary school children in the remote community have not been in class in over 100 days, as there is only a kindergarten and a native language teacher left to teach the roughly 80 students. Henry Coaster Memorial School has sat nearly empty for over 3 months because of the teacher recruitment issues. The main reason educators aren't signing up is a lack of housing in Martin Falls. There is no dedicated residence for teachers, as they have to share the few rooms available at the seniors' residence. The issue was first raised to federal officials in 1999, with little headway since then. Chief Bruce Ashpanescum reached out again in September, looking for housing for their teachers.
And each unit up north is approximately 350,000 to 400,000. So you can do the math. That there's no investments in coming to our community anytime soon.
Achni Panescum recently sat down with his riding MPP, Guy Bourgeois. The call for assistance has also been taken up by MP Charlie Angus with the federal NDP, whose riding includes Martin Falls. The Northwestern Health Unit had 3 cases of COVID-19 in the area hospitals as of Friday. And on Wednesday, an outbreak was declared at Sioux Lookout's Minoyawin Health Clinic. The outbreak has been declared in the South Pod wing of the inpatient unit after 2 people had tested positive, both presumed to have been acquired in hospital. Friday's update from the NWHU saw active cases jump to 407. The 7-day positivity rate also increased to 25.5%. Late January was supposed to see the peak of COVID-19 in Ontario, but Kit Young-hoon says the NWHU isn't there just yet.
It is increasing, so that needs to be monitored closely to see if it will eventually come down. We'll also need to look at hospitalization numbers because the peak of hospitalizations tends to occur after the peak in case numbers. So that I don't believe we reached our peak at this point.
Young-hoon is encouraged by the district's high vaccination rate with a 55% uptake in booster doses. Kids 5 to 11 at 57%. They will soon start up in school vaccination clinics to those with parental consent. But the NWHU is looking to scale back large vaccination clinics in early February. Monday's reopening can't come soon enough for restaurants in the Fort Frances area. Business owners say the area tends not to order too much takeout food from the sit-down restaurants, and they expect locals to turn out in droves come Monday. Corey Nordstrom reports.
Restaurants in Fort Frances have been waiting over a month for the day they could finally welcome back customers for in-person dining, and now it's finally on the horizon.
Having people back in the building is going to be so nice, being able to serve the people and just have a little bit of normalcy back.
Christine Cridland is the manager of the Flint House, a popular spot in the community's downtown. She expects customers to return as soon as they can after the long period away.
After the constant being open, closed, people are ready to get out. It's a new year. People haven't been out since Christmas. We're in a whole new year, and we started off in a lockdown just like last year. I can see it being pretty busy when we can open again.
Business is usually slower in January, but only having takeout available has been hard on the restaurant business.
People like to sit down and eat. If they're gonna take takeout, they're probably going to your fast food restaurants.
You really can't make ends meet from takeout only. You can't cover the food cost and the labor that's associated with it.
Laplace Rendezvous fortunately offers a hotel in addition to their shorefront restaurant, which has helped with the finances during rough patches. But Noonan and her staff, like most Ontarians, are hopeful that after Monday, the restrictions won't be necessary again.
We kind of looked at this one like, okay, this is the last one, it's short term, we're gonna get through this. We didn't want to go and lay off all of our staff again, so whoever wanted to keep working this time, we kept working. Unfortunately, some of our students aren't quite getting the hours, but they're excited to come back.
Corey Nordstrom, TBT News.
A suspicious death is being reported in the town of Fort Frances. Members of the Rainy River OPP were dispatched to a Portage Avenue business Tuesday morning. A 37-year-old man from Lac Lacroix was pronounced dead on the scene, and a post-mortem was conducted in Kenora. Investigators believe there is no threat to public safety, but any information that could assist investigators should be directed to the OPP or Crime Stoppers. A task force has been launched with a number of regional voices to ensure the needs of Northwestern Ontario are being met by the province's next transportation plan. President Wendy Laundrie is co-chair for the task force that also includes Treaty 3 Grand Chief Ogichda Francis Kavanagh, Kenora Mayor Dan Raynard, and Sioux Lookout's Mayor Doug Lawrence. The group's main focus is safety and will influence decisions made on licensing, highway maintenance contracts, while advocating for more funding for major projects like highway twinning.
Advocating for divided highways for some time, and we've seen some traction on that, both with the Liberals and now with the government in office today. You know, with the work that's being done from Shunya out, and then also from Kenora out. And but let's be realistic; it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money, and it's going to take a lot of work and a lot of time. Look at how long it's taken just to get what we have today.
The 13-member task force is scheduled to have their first meeting next week. Lise Bonjour will be getting another chance to try to beat longtime Liberal MPP Michael Gravel, as she'll be the NDP candidate once again in Thunder Bay Superior North. In the 2018 election, Vanjoie came close to unseating Gravel, losing by just 800 votes, and she thinks she has a very good chance of winning the next provincial election when it happens sometime in May or June. Riding officials say Vaugeois has been green-lighted by her party and will be the only candidate at the virtual nomination meeting on February 17th. Vaugeois says she plans to keep getting to know the different communities in the riding until the election call happens.
I think when people have the chance to hear what we have to offer and meet me and have conversations, I think they will see that voting for me and voting for the NDP will bring us some better services that we really need here in the North.
Gravel has confirmed he will be running again for the Liberals, and Thunder Bay City Councillor Peng Yu will be the PC candidate in the riding. When we come back, a look at a very stylish way to go ice fishing. The sport of ice fishing has never looked more stylish thanks to Vaughn Murray. The man from Rainy River is gaining buzz across North America after turning his limousine into an ice fishing shack. Corey Nordstrom has more on the newest tourist attraction in the border town.
Most limousines spend their days transporting celebrities or high schoolers to prom, but not Vaughn Murray's 94 Buick. The retiree from Rainy River has converted his working limo, given to him by a neighbor, into a makeshift heated ice fishing shack.
I thought it's set up in there, two benches, you're facing each other. I mean, all I had to do is cut the holes in the floor, drill the holes in, and you're fishing.
For $100, a group of 4 can spend the day on the river, with Murray supplying all the necessary equipment and probably a laugh or two.
I got the rods, I got the bait, and I'll show you how to do it, and it's not much to it. Fishing's fishing.
And the former railroad conductor says business has taken off since he started rentals just a couple of weeks ago.
I'm getting bookings every day. I think I've got 10 or 12 bookings already for the next couple of weeks. Yeah, everybody's just excited about it. I haven't had a bad word about it. Everybody's it's something different, and that's what people are looking for.
His granddaughter Danny Burbeck says her phone has also been lighting up with praise for the limo, though Murray's unique creation isn't too much of a surprise for locals.
They know Grandpa as, doing a lot of crazy ideas like this. So, I mean, it's not, a huge out of nowhere idea that nobody would think of.
The 71-year-old's previous claim to fame was winning the National Enquirer's Ugly Mug contest more than a dozen years ago, but he is glad his newest step into the limelight is getting more people acquainted with ice fishing.
One guy said, hey, if I catch one fish in a limousine, I'm happy. So it's just a good time.
The ice fishing limousine has been such a hit that Murray's going to keep it going. He says eventually he'll let his grandkids take over the business so that future visitors of Rainy River can put on their tuxedos and gowns and drop a line. Corey Nordstrom, TVT News.
An ice fisherman in Red Rock has come up with a unique way to bring all his gear out onto the lake without needing to deal with the frigid cold. Donald Stenlin has created a vehicle that's half car, half snow machine, and fully equipped for any winter situation. Mitchell Ringos reports.
The owner of the snow car, which has been named Wolf Track, is Red Rock local Donald Stenlin. Stenlin did a lot of work on the conventional four-door car by taking the seats, doors, and front brake pads out to drop the overall weight. He then added a set of tracks off a four-door Claris side-by-side in place of the back wheels and had help from a local welder to attach the front skis. The Wolf Track can reach up to 50 kilometers an hour, but usually stays steady at around 20 kilometers across the harsh winter terrain. Stenlin says this snow car was built with a purpose and not just to turn heads.
I had the idea from last winter when it was cold out in the lake fishing, and I had this idea of making a car with tracks on it. I had guys in town here that helped me. The guy did welding there, Pierre Paquette. He's an aluminum welder, and Joe Lance. He's like a machinist, so he helped me make the parts I needed for hooking up the tracks and that.
Also added was a full-size tent, custom fit to the frame in place of the roof, which was removed. As usually, Stenlin would have to get a permit for an ice fishing hut, have to transport that hut out onto the ice, and then would have to remove the hut when leaving. And with such cold weather was a problem that needed a solution. And that solution was the tent that is now part of the car, making the vehicle a mobile ice fishing shack, allowing Stenlin to set up anywhere with ease.
Had to make a tent to fit on it there so that you roll a tarp back that covers up the top there now. There's no roof on it. And then you lift the tent up, it just comes up like a convertible, and then you got a tent where you can stand up inside the car and fish inside there. I got 2 holes in there to fish in. On the nice days, you can go outside and fish. You know, you don't have to stay in the car on the nice days.
And Stellan says for next year, the snow car called the Wolf Tracker will be back again on the ice and bigger and better than ever with a possible new aluminum dome taking away the original tent. Mitchell Ringos, TBT News.
With the Superior Ice Riders on the verge of taking the ice for the Red Rock Marina opener, winter riders made their way out to the track early to get in some practice before the season starts. Even though the temperatures were well below normal riding conditions, riders still got in some laps at the Red Rock Oval. The ice bikes are mandated to have a kill tether in case they get separated from the bike. Ice tire guards, and most importantly, the studded tires, which have about 300 to 500 studs each, with varying classes. Superior Ice Riders President Alex Torman says due to the COVID, the latest couple years has been a smaller turnout, but is hoping for a minimum of 10 to 20 riders this season. And with ice being the track itself, Torma says so far the weather has been cooperating.
The weather's looking favorable. We got some really good ice here in Red Rock. It's nice and thick. We haven't had too much snow, so there's not too much plowing to be had or anything like that. We're still waiting for Thunder Bay to freeze up out at Lakeview Lodge there, so hopefully in the next few weeks we can get some ice out there as well. But the track is beautiful here in Red Rock, and we're looking forward to some good racing.
The first race will be taking place at the track in Red Rock on February 6th, followed by a feature event in the same location on February 13th. The Superior Ice Riders will then make their way to Lakeview Lodge on March 13th for the Bobby Powell Memorial Race. The Scotties Tournament of Hearts is now underway, and the snowshoe artist from Scriber has applied his craft to give a warm welcome to the visiting curlers as they flew into Thunder Bay. Jessa Clement has the story.
The football field at St. Patrick High School is one of 3 locations around the city that now feature the Scotties Tournament of Hearts logo. Despite the freezing cold during the last few days, grabber snowshoe artist Kim Asmussen and a few friends have been creating these snow art designs to welcome Canada's top women's curlers as they fly into Thunder Bay. Logos have also been created at Fort William Stadium and at St. Ignatius in hopes of giving the curlers a better chance of seeing them out the airplane windows.
We thought maybe it'd be nice just to have a logo up here. So we got thinking, where can we do it? We thought maybe the airport, but we thought that might be a little too hard. So we thought do one here at Fort William Stadium, the Legion track. We did one at St. Pat's, so that hopefully then the curlers come in, they'll be able to see it as long as it hasn't snowed out.
Asmussen isn't new to creating snowshoe art and has been creating masterpieces in his hometown of Scrabber for the past couple of years. He says the Scotties logo wasn't too complicated to design, and after he came up with the measurements and outlined it, it took him and his team only a couple of hours to pack in the drawings at each site.
So basically it's 2 circles, and then the trick is to try and hide where the path is where we walked in. So you have to make sure the heart is in part of the path. And from there, it's just a couple of circles and lines.
The curlers flew into Thunder Bay on Wednesday, and the Scotties tournament began on Friday. And there's no doubt that Asmussen's creations will be shown during the TSN broadcasts of the curling matches. Jessica Clement, TBT News.
Marathon resident Dan Sullivan is the latest big winner of the Thunder Bay 50/50 jackpot in support of the Regional Health Science Foundation. CEO Glenn Craig making the big phone call on Friday.
How's up at Marathon today?
Cold, but I'm hoping it's going to get warmer.
Well, how warmer would it be if I told you you've just won $681,000?
Oh my God, you're kidding, man.
I'm not kidding you.
Oh, Glenn, thank you so much.
Yeah, $681,170.
Oh, Lord. Couldn't have come at a better time, man. We need it super bad.
Sullivan has been a regular ticket purchaser of the Thunder Bay 50/50. He says he'll use some of the money to fix up his house, but his family also plans to take in a third rescue dog and donate some of the winnings back to the hospital and other organizations. Sullivan, who's a musician, saying he doesn't need all of that money to live comfortably and wants to help make a difference in other people's lives. Tickets are already on sale for February's jackpot. The draw will be held on February the 25th. After the break, we discuss the town of Marathon and a new arrival to the town that brought a glimmer of hope. The town of Marathon is looking to support its business community once again after the latest round of restrictions due to the COVID-19 pandemic. However, there has been a shift in focus as to which businesses can apply for financial assistance, and the arrival of Tim Hortons has brought a glimmer of hope to the town's economy. Adam Riley reports.
Council in Marathon has directed the town to blow the dust off of one of its local COVID business recovery programs in light of the latest shutdown. In 2020, Marathon opened up a fund that would allow businesses affected by shutdowns and COVID restrictions to apply for a grant of up to $5,000 to cover the costs of non-tax related expenses. Mayor Rick Dumas says that grant program was very successful, with 20 businesses from across the business spectrum applying. However, this time the money is being directed towards businesses in the hospitality and tourism sector.
In the hospitality sector with the restaurants slash bar scenario, they're going to be impacted greatly. They can do takeout, but as we all know that takeout dramatically slows down from these. So with that being said, the municipality with council's direction told the administration to reignite the committee, and we put it $50,000 into the actual fund.
The grant committee is a separate body from council, according to Dumas, adding those who apply this time are going to have to provide a bit more information as to how they have been impacted and how the grant money will be spent. Applications are being accepted now and is expected to last for a month. All while this is happening, Dumas is excited to see the business community evolving further despite the shutdowns. Last year it was announced Tim Hortons was coming to Marathon and would be built on the site of the former DH Foods Mall. Construction is now wrapped, and while it's not open for indoor dining like other restaurants, Dumas believes it brings more confidence towards Marathon's economy.
It's all about, I think, attraction to people coming off the highway. Like any place, any city, any community that has more offerings in the commercial sector, it will attract more people to come into the community and spend money. So it's a good add to our community, and we're very happy.
Earlier this month, Premier Doug Ford announced businesses would be allowed to reopen for indoor dining on January 31st. Adam Riley, TBT News.
And that wraps up Northwest Newsweek. We hope to see you again.